You join me inside the 21 Jeep Wrangler Rubicon 392. Yes, a 392 cubic inch V8 finds its way under that hood. It's something that Wrangler fans have wanted for forever, a V8 Wrangler, and we've got it now. And it takes a vehicle that's already crazy unique, something like the Wrangler that's this capable off-road, that you can take off the doors, that you can fold down the windshield, that you can take off the roof, and makes it even more unique. Because even though the Ford Bronco that's coming out wants to do very similar things in terms of convertible nature and off-road capability, it won't, to start at least, have a V8 model. Maybe the Bronco R that will come after that will have a V8, but for now, it's just the Wrangler 392 being this powerful and this off-road capable and this convertible. However, at $75,000 to start, this vehicle competes with more premium vehicles now, like the Lexus GX, even though that's now kind of archaic, with its V8, and the new Land Rover Defender 110 SE with its 6-cylinder that makes almost 400 horsepower. Is the Wrangler 392 worth the monstrous starting price with its monstrous power, monstrous capability, and monstrous looks? Well, we're going to find out by taking an in-depth look at the exterior and interior of this vehicle, then taking it on-road to see how it does there, and then taking it off-road. That's today on Miles Per Hour. And there it is, the 21 Jeep Wrangler Rubicon 392, the biggest, baddest Wrangler you can buy, and it's painted in Snazberry. Seriously, that's Jeep's name for this paint job. Snazzy Berry. Snazberry for short. It's an extra $295. In fact, all of the colors for the Wrangler Rubicon 392, apart from white, are an extra $295. Not expensive, but would you want to say, hey man, my Wrangler's painted Snazberry? I mean, the paint job doesn't look that bad with all the bronze accents that are part of the 392 package, but the name, oh, the name. I think this vehicle would look best in either the Sting Gray color or the Firecracker Red. That's just me. But again, this sort of wine color with the bronze accents works. Just don't tell anyone the name of the paint job. All right, there is so much to cover with the Wrangler 392, exterior, interior, on-road impressions, off-road impressions. I'm going to do my absolute best to try to condense it, but forgive me if I run a bit long here. Here at the front, one of the first things you'll see is that the Wrangler 392 borrows the Gladiator's wider slat grille to allow more air to flow into that engine. It's a bigger engine, it needs more cooling. Now you got wider slats, still the 7-slat grille, and we'll see that theme mimicked a few other places around the vehicle. But that's one of the notes. You're going to get standard LED headlights, daytime running lights, which go around the headlights, and DRLs over here, and LED taillights. You will also get standard steel bumpers. Those are options on the normal Rubicon. Here they're standard. The bronze tow hooks, 2 up front and 1 in the back. And this hood scoop, how could you not acknowledge the hood scoop? It is very much functional at that. It is integrated with what Jeep calls the Hydra Guide system. So if there is like a deluge of rain, or you are wading through some water and a wake goes up on the bow and goes into the hood scoop, you don't have to worry, it's not going to go into your throttle body. It is redirected around that. It can handle 15 gallons of water a minute. And if there is mud and other gunk that gets up here in the hood scoop and goes in, once again, you don't have to worry about that. That's redirected to sort of like a completely benign cavity in the engine bay. So very much functional, also super duper cool. You got the 392 badges with more bronze there, bronze around the Rubicon, sticker on the side. Yeah, just super cool. Down here you got the fog lights integrated within the bumpers, and under here you've got a front skid plate. Steel, good steel. Stepping back, just so mean. The 392, because of the height of this engine, they had to lift it an extra inch over the standard Rubicon. So now it's 2 inches higher than the Wrangler Sport, and it looks it. However, they stuck it on 33-inch tires. These are BF Goodrich KO2s, 33 inches, and they're big tires, right? My Land Cruiser is on 33-inch tires. I'm like, yeah, nice meaty tires. But look at all of that wheel well, and you could just sort of picture the T-Rex's 35-inch tires just fitting really nice and easily in there. The fact that they don't offer it at least as an option from the factory is a bit of a bummer. Still cool tires. I want to see 35s, personally. What we do have are these 17-inch beadlock capable wheels, also with a dull bronze to them. These are super cool. And then in here, we've got upgraded Fox 2.0 aluminum bodied monotube shocks. No remote reservoirs on these guys, but they are replacing the Tenneco monotube shocks that are on the regular Rubicon. Always nice to have Fox shocks. Also nice are these body color matching fender flares, standard on the 392. This one has the optional trail cam, front facing camera with integrated washer jets right there, so it can clean itself off if it gets mud on the trail. Really cool vantage point. Nice to have an extra 595 bucks, I think it is, JD? Yes. And then over here, I want to show you a couple Easter eggs. Got this Willys Jeep icon. We're going to see that repeated a bunch of other places inside the cabin. This is one of the exterior ones. Then over here, a pair of sandals. Why are there sandals on your Wrangler? Well, there's a Jeep enthusiast / journalist named Rick something, starts with an S. Sorry, Rick. But he likes to wear sandals everywhere, so Jeep gave him a little nod with a pair of sandals up there. And remember the 7-slat grill? There are 7 ventilation slats up there. Neato. Okay, over here we have the classic square door mirrors in plastic, black plastic, not body color matching. Bronze trail rated badge and outline for the Jeep plaque. Rock sliders just like the regular Rubicon. They're here on the 392. Stepping back, take it all in, all of that snazberry. Bad color name aside, it looks so cool. That classic square profile with the now rounded rounded windows. Looks good. Would love a bit of extra tire, but hey, not gonna complain too much. This thing looks rad. Love the steel fuel door. Steel on this side, Jeep on the inside, and a plastic cover. I don't know why they didn't do capless fueling. They do that on some other Stellantis vehicles. Why not here in the Wrangler? They're not on right now, but the LED taillights are this outline here, and then LEDs on the inside of those. Down here is a MilesPerHr sticker, and below that we've got bronze tow hook, just one on this back end, and then quad exhaust. Yeah, the performance exhaust on the 392 is standard and sounds so good. So good. Love it. This one has the trailer tow package. So you get the hitch right there and the 7-pin connection and a full-size 33-inch spare tire. That may be one of the reasons why they didn't go 35-inch. They didn't want to reconfigure the mounting system for the spare tire. Don't know if this stock one could accommodate a 35-inch tire. That may be one of the reasons. So that is the exterior. Let me do one full rear shot of the Wrangler 392. Looks fantastic. One of the first mods that's going to be done, guaranteed, by owners is throwing on 35-inch tires. Love it. Okay, let's hop into the interior. Quite a bit more to unpack there. And on our way in, you can see we've got keyless entry. That's standard on the 392. So with the key in your pocket, just pull on the door handle to unlock it, to lock it, press in on that black tab right there. That is just for the front 2 doors, not for the rear ones. So I guess I can't say maximum convenience. I can just say convenience. And if that whole system fails, well, you got a physical key on your key fob that you can put in there to manually lock or unlock your doors. Opening up and looking inside, Lots of standard niceties on the Rubicon 392. Just 3 interior options to point out. All-weather floor mats, which are rubberized and therefore really easy to take out and clean if you're going off-roading, have muddy boots. That's a nice touch. The Sky one-touch power top. That I can't say maximum convenience. It's the most convenient option among the full soft top, full hard top, and then this top option for the Wrangler. Sort of a blend of hard top look on the outside and then soft top, and open air feel. And the third option is the trail rail system that I will show you when we get to the trunk. That means everything else you get for the price of entry on the Rubicon 392, and it's a high price of entry. That means these leather bucket seats are standard with the bronze stitching details, including the bronze embroidery of Rubicon 392 on the front seat backs. These front seats are heated, but they are manually operated. So to adjust the seat back, you pull this tab and angle that. To raise or lower the seat, you pull this trigger-like thing or push it. And then to adjust the lumbar, you crank this knob there. All beefy, chunky. Speaking of chunky, all of the main controls, like this one for the lights and the climate controls and volume, they're all hardy pieces. So if you're wearing gloves in the winter, you can still easily manipulate them. You don't have to have the perfect dexterity of just a hand without a glove. Also heated like the seats is this leather-wrapped steering wheel with bronze stitching on the inside. And another fun fact for you, these 3 notches here on the steering wheel are in honor of the Willys Jeep and its 3-prong steering wheel. More leather up here on the dashboard and more bronze stitching. Hit my head every time on this, getting in. But that looks swell. The doors, well, of course, this being a Wrangler, they're easy to remove, and there's a place even in the trunk to store the hardware when you take off the doors. And this little detail, the T50, tells you how much torque you need to have to make sure the doors are secure. You can also, like every Wrangler, fold down that front windshield and then store that hardware, also in that spot in the trunk. Very cool. The doors themselves, injection molding up here, leather here with a bronze stitching. These are plastic but hardy feeling door handles. That's a helicopter there. Then you can manually lock them here by just pressing this in. You'll see that lock. Power door mirrors controlled here. Lock and unlock right there. This moves into some harder plastic, and then you've got a netted portion down here. And then let's hop in, which we do so by grabbing onto this grab handle. Every passenger except for the middle passenger has a grab handle. I guess that person just grabs onto the thighs of the individual to his left and or right. All right, we're in. And that means I'm going to start it up because I want to show you this cool thing that happens on the screen. Okay, so did we catch all of that? It said since 1941, which is when the Willys Jeep was introduced on the left. Then we had the transition of a Willys Jeep front into a modern Jeep there on the center. And then we had a little Jeep scampering across the bottom of the screen there. That was all pretty darn cool. Now taking a swing around the cabin. There's a good chance to test out the sound insulation, because we can hear the garbage truck backing up from yonder while still inside the cabin. Looking at the steering wheel, didn't mention this is a plastic arm here. These are plastic arms, but they've got a metal look finish on them. Adaptive cruise control is standard on the Wrangler Rubicon 392, but you don't have lane keep assist or lane departure warning or any of the lane things. That's not a standard detail. You do, however, get these aluminum backed paddle shifters. Paddle shifters on a Wrangler. Guess this thing must have a V8. And the paddles are just half paddles, just like the Charger and Challenger. And then down here are some controls for the media system. Would love to see full paddles, but they're half paddles and that's okay. At least we get paddles on this one. The turn signal and wiper stocks are cheaper plastic. You do have the one-touch signals, and here analog gauges for your tach and speedo. Then you get a 7-inch TFT color display as standard. You can work through some different information here. So you got trip info, fuel economy and range, your adaptive cruise control settings, some off-road information, tire PSI, speed, that good stuff. This is a great time to mention, if you want the full in-depth on the interior, be sure to watch my walk-around video. I go crazy in-depth, and you don't have to hear me talking at you, so that's always fun. Mentioned these controls are for that TFT display over there. Adjustment of the steering wheel. Pull this tab right here. That's how much tilt, and this is how much telescope. Not a ton of telescope, but I've been able to find a comfortable seating position with arm reach to the steering wheel. I like that the circular air vents go all the way around. It's just a fun little quirk. And then this backing here. I know on the Rubicon this is red, sort of matte finish, but here it's black, kind of sparkly plastic. Don't hate it, but I don't know, I think I would still like the red if maybe the exterior was firecracker red. That would look cool. You've got Wrangler on this big old grab bar right there. Volume knob, your power button or your ignition buttons there. The airflow does get pretty hearty. Heated seat controls here, heated steering wheels there. This button, this is your friend. You want to press this button pretty much immediately when you get in the vehicle. It is the power or the performance exhaust. So you press that and it just gets so good. Oh, yeah, you like that button right there. All your window controls, as with classic Wrangler, are here in the center. One touch down, but not one touch up. You got to hold them. They are fairly speedy. You're going to get a standard 8.4-inch Uconnect 4 system. This is not the Uconnect 5 system that's now in the new Durango and some other vehicles from Stellantis, but it's the Uconnect 4 system. So you do have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, but you got to plug in for it. You plug in right here in the media tab. So you've got USB-C and USB and aux. You still have aux. No CD player, but you still have aux. But yeah, so you got to plug in to use those features. The Uconnect 4 system, Uconnect 5 is even better, but Uconnect 4 is still pretty good. Fairly quick, sometimes lag. Here you can access the forward-facing camera. Pretty neat, and I mentioned you could clean it. This is how you do it. It's just cool. It also cleans the rear glass when it does that. Backup camera, forward camera. They're right there. If you hit the controls, this is like your main stuff. Your seat heating, we'll have 3 levels there. If you don't want to hit the buttons there, you can do it here. The cameras, and you can get into settings from here. Climate controls. I love that they just call it apps. So it's just little icons for everything. They call it apps. They're just icons. So you can adjust your climate control here. You can do so by dragging this or by tabbing up or down. The air vents you can do here, or you can do here. Direction of the airflow, all that good stuff. Media, if you get a device connected. If you have Apple CarPlay, it'll show up here as an icon. Navigation, that's a standard goodie. And it's fairly responsive, pretty darn quick. So I like the 8.4-inch Uconnect system. All good stuff there. You got a DC socket here. Down here is going to be your lockers for front and rear. Off-road plus. Disconnect your sway bars there. Already from the factory, you've got 4 blanks for you to set up auxiliary lights or a compressor, other good stuff for off-roading. Glove box. Open that up, and in this fabric bag with more topography, you'll find your user manual, upside down. Just a general 21 Wrangler, not a 392 owner's manual, but that's there. And then a very square glove box, not rectangular like most are, very square. Here, more 7-slot designs just behind the rear view mirror, which is nice and wide. The Sky One Touch power top is here. And like it suggests, it's a one-touch operation. You press and it's just going to sort of accordion itself. Back there. I didn't time that. What was that? Maybe 15 seconds, 18 seconds? Somewhere in between. Your sun visors here, that's sort of injection molded, that's hard plastic, but it does have lights integrated, and importantly, they do slide. They don't slide all the way to cover all of the window, but they slide, and I will take sliding over not sliding. No head-up display or anything like that. Here, of course, we have our 4 high part-time, neutral, and 4 low. That's your transfer case control there. Here's your general drive selection. Reverse. Here's that Willys Jeep. I mentioned yet another icon there. Neutral, drive. Click it over for manual controls. That's when you're going to use those paddles. The handbrake is a physical handbrake, and it's leather wrapped with more bronze details. You can pull up on it. It's already up. That's you pull up. These are rubberized cup holders. So if you've got smaller bottles, they'll stay secure. If you got bigger, you can push in the rubber. We'll see if a big bottle can fit in there. There's a big bottle. We're getting ahead of ourselves. This center console here, nice and comfy padded with a bronze stitching. It's got 2 levels. Up here, there's that Jeep tool that I mentioned. Leather tab thing to go with that. Jeep fob with the notches in the side. This is just cool and feels so macho holding this key. The analog key is a switch out, unlock, lock, and yes, this vehicle does have remote start. Hit that twice. Panic button. Nice meaty key. That's good. Then you pull this other tab, and now we have a not crazy deep opening here. See my sunglasses are in there. You've got another USB port there. USB ports abound in this vehicle. Let's throw into park. Forgot to mention this one has knurled finish on the bottom. I like knurled finishes. So that was the Sky One Touch opening. I'll show it closing after we show the rear seats. Okay. The rear seat accommodations with the top opened. Like the fronts, these are going to be leather seats with bronze detailing here on the sides, but no embroidery of Rubicon on the seat backs. You cannot recline these seats in any way, so they're either folded flat or they're up, and that's all you got. You do get a center console thing that takes down the center headrest. You get cup holders in here of good size, also rubberized like the front, so you can fit bigger bottles in there securely. And then this is nice and comfortable, well padded. So that's your center console. You get MOLLE on the seat back, so you can hook in carabiners or things like that, and you do have a netted portion there as well. All weather floor mats with the same topography like the fronts. In the center here, we do have a Willys Jeep icon. It continues, the fun continues. And like the front, these circular vents go all the way around. I like it. And they click. Can you hear it? Yeah, they click. I like that. Window controls are here. I'll just show the right one because that's going to be easier. Can't raise it, Miles, lower it. And like the front, they are power, but not one touch. Not one touch down, not one touch up. Plenty of media connectivity. So you pull this open, and you've got 2 USB-Cs and 2 USBs, and a 115 volt 3-prong socket back here. Lots of connectivity. Here are just some textured cubbies for dirt to gather, I suppose. The doors Like the fronts, injection molded and then leather with bronze detailing, harder plastics, and a netting. And like the fronts, you can manually lock them. Comme ça. Pull on the door handle like that. You get your own grab handle, which you'll need because this vehicle is pretty high off the ground. Lift yourself on up there. Here's your view of the front cabin. You get some dome lights here. Speakers there. This is the Alpine sound system. Not an upgrade, a standard thing. Not as good as like the, you know, Bang & Olufsen's and the Burmisters and the really nice sound systems out there, but it gets the job done. Oh, the helicopter's back. Good. And helicopter go bye-bye. Now we can talk about leg room. At 6 feet tall, this is my knee room situation behind my own driving position. Got some knee room. Nice deep foot pockets means I can slide my feet under there, reduce that knee angle, but I am still going to be sitting pretty upright, again, because you can't angle back these seats. It's comfortable enough for a road trip. You're just not going to be lounging. And headroom, well, let's put up the Sky One Touch Power Top to confirm. Just a fun process to watch. It's like a conveyor belt, getting your luggage. Okay, so now sitting upright, yeah, headroom's not an issue. So you got legroom, you got headroom, you're good as a full-size adult in the back of the Wrangler Rubicon 392 with your grab handles and your fun stuff. Hopping down, let's go check out the trunk, but before we do, let's turn off the car. Let's turn off the truck. Needlessly running. Open this up, and we're going to see the 7 slot one more time. It's back here, and now we're seeing the first of the trail rail system. So this system is up here on the tailgate and there in the trunk. You can slide these anywhere by pressing these tabs in and sliding, and then they lock into place, and then they lift up so you can latch in things. That's nice and handy, and we've got 4 more of them here. Pull up to latch on, press in to slide. Then this is a reversible cargo mat cover here. So beneath this is sort of your standard flat floor, but then you have this piece here, more topography, and it says Wrangler right there. This is rubberized, so it's going to keep things from sliding around. This other side, I kind of did that in one swoop. Says Jeep on it there, and this is carpeted. Under here, remember when I mentioned you'd have a spot for your hardware, for your door hinges and your windshields? Well, it's right here in the trunk, so you don't lose those valuable pieces. They're in the trunk. Alpine subwoofer right there. 12-volt DC socket over here, JL badge with, this is cool, and a nod to the Willys Jeeps past as a military rig. It's got JL in Morse code right there. Neato. Cargo space. Listed for you right here, behind the second row. Nice and tall. If you need more space, well, this is cool. You can just pull down the headrest with this tab on either side. If you need better visibility, perhaps as the driver, you don't want the headrests up because they are very tall. You can do that. And then you can fold down the seats. I like that you can do this from the trunk so I don't have to go to the side to do it. Oh, I missed it. Missed it. There we go. Didn't push hard enough. But now here's your full cargo space in the Wrangler Rubicon 392. Not any different than the regular Wrangler. Adjusting these, now you can see that the seats almost fold completely flat. So pretty darn good cargo digs in the Wrangler 392. And with all that done, we got 2 last things to do before we're hitting the road and then hitting the off-road after that. Yeah, I didn't fix that seat. Don't worry about it. grab a handle. Inside. What do we think they are? Yeah, one's the big bottle test. We knew this was coming. Will it fit in the Wrangler 392? Starting with the front cup holders. I said you can put bigger bottles, but not this big. That's not gonna fit. Center console, will it fit? Oh no, it doesn't fit in the center console. Door pocket, now this should be interesting. It's a netted piece. But will it close? No, it fits, but it won't really close. I hate to say it, guys. The Wrangler 392 fails the big bottle test. Okay, and that means all we have left, oh, performance exhaust. I need you. We're gonna rev it up. Oh, and take it for a drive. Simply because you can't do this too many times. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be real good. So, wedging a V8 engine into a Wrangler. Not the easiest thing to do because this vehicle was really intended to have 6 cylinders, and now in the case of the 4xe, a 4-cylinder with a plug-in hybrid powertrain. Isn't it funny, by the way, how they released that vehicle kind of around the same time they released this one? It's like balancing the scales. Here you go, a little bit of fuel efficiency, a lot of bit of power, so we're fine, right? Yeah. Anyway, so they had to modify the 6.4 liter HEMI V8 by adjusting the accessory drive belts, by moving the alternator on top of the engine, by adjusting the exhaust manifolds and the oil pan and the oil filter and the cooling module, all that to just make it fit. And it was worth it because we now have 470 horsepower and 470 pound-feet of torque. That's connected to an 8-speed automatic gearbox. We got the paddle shifters up here on the steering wheel for fun, and sending power to all 4 wheels via a 2-speed transfer case. It was worth it because now we get 0 to 60 performance of 4.5 seconds. Should we find out what that's like? Tire chirp. Yeah, it's there. Thought I was gonna hit the vehicle in front of me. I wasn't, but yeah, 0 to 60 in 4.5 seconds in a Wrangler. As if you couldn't feel any more boss than driving a Wrangler Rubicon with the roof off, with the Sky One Touch power top that we have. Now we've got V8 power and it sounds magical. It sounded magical like that. Should we make it sound even more magical? Because if you press the performance exhaust button, it's gonna get louder. Click down a couple gears. Oh, come on. Listen to that. That's ridiculous. It's in a Wrangler. It's so wrong. Even the delay on the upshift I'll take because of the snarl from that performance exhaust system. It's so beautiful. It's so good. Okay, so yeah, Wrangler fans who have wanted the V8 forever, your wait is over and it was so much worth it. And on top of that, the things they had to do to sort of make it work, to make it have the ground clearance and the approach and departure angles they wanted, they adjusted the front and rear spring rates, they gave it the Fox shocks, and now it rides better than any Wrangler. And I mean, I was in a Rubicon not too long ago and the thing was kind of pretty darn firm, and especially the Gladiator, that thing is crazy firm. This rides really very nicely. And I mean, it makes it such that you could really live with this every day, and you can certainly live with this soundtrack every day. and I love the Sky One Touch power roof because I mean, I had the JK Wrangler with the soft top, and it was, I know they've improved the process a little bit, but it's still always a pain to have to get out and take off all the panels and store them. And even the hard top, you have to store those panels somewhere. This, just press a button and it goes away. It really adds to the just off the cuff, spur of the moment, I want the top down, now you got it. And the wind buffeting in here isn't really all that bad. Doing 47 right now, it's pretty good. You get up to speed and it builds more, but you just love that convertible feel. Yeah, this is a great vehicle on the road. Shockingly good on the road. I expected it to be worse. So the last thing we need to do is take it off-road, see how it does there, unlocking all of the off-road capability plus V8 power. Then we'll bring it back here to talk about competitors. All right, guys, we made it off-road, which means things are about to get really good in the 392. And because we're starting out on a mild incline road with just a couple dips in it, we're gonna leave it in 4-high auto on Jeep's Select Track 4-wheel drive system. What that means is the Wrangler is gonna function primarily as a rear-wheel drive vehicle, only sending power to the front wheels when it detects slip, okay? So with that, let's get going. And also some background information. I've aired down the tires just slightly from their 40 PSI on-road to 32 PSI, which just creates a little air cushion to help out that Fox suspension, absorb some of the harshness of the road. And it's only gonna get softer as I air down the tires more later in this off-road portion. We're starting just getting a feel for this suspension, just seeing how it takes up some road blemishes. And you know, just keep in mind that this is not a massive heavy duty suspension with remote reservoirs like in the Ford Raptor or the Ram T-Rex. So it's really not intended to just go hit whoops in the desert real hard. This is just intended to soak up the harshness of your off-road terrain at modest speeds. And what I'm experiencing so far is just that. It's doing a great job. Some dips, even there where I sort of fully compressed the suspension, it was not a harsh impact inside the cabin. This is all good. And of course, I already have the performance exhaust on because I want to hear that HEMI noise all the time. And now I'm going to go a step further because I'm going to hit off-road plus mode here, which really should be off-road minus because it's minus traction control now. Although it is a plus of increasing throttle response and shift timing and just making things more fun. And by more fun, I mean power slides. Oh, this is good. Oh, I like that. I like that a lot. You cannot do that in a regular Wrangler. That is for sure. Okay, the hooliganism can even be satisfied off-road. That's for sure. Oh! What? Oh, I'm never going home. I'm gonna stay here till we run out of fuel, which may not be long. Well, now hold on. Things are getting amped up. I think we need a snack break. Would you care for some donuts? Delicious, delicious donuts. Can't see my way out. There we go, there it is, there's the trail. Okay, now on to the next stage. Now we are approaching a section of finer dirt and some undulations in the road. So we're gonna switch to 4-high part-time by going into neutral and clicking it down, then go back to drive. And 4-high part-time is a somewhat misleading name because it's really like the permanent 4-wheel drive system on other 4-wheel drive SUVs. It's not a part-time system, 4-wheel drive all the time. So with that, let's go. Now these aren't crazy undulations, so I shouldn't need to disconnect the sway bars, and also 4-high is probably still gonna be enough low-end power for me. But having that in your back pocket, being able to disconnect the sway bars and allow the wheels to travel even more, is a pretty nice feature. And if we were encountering that, I would no doubt use that. But this is just breezing right through this stuff. There is some deeper looking ruts up there, and I'm hoping that 4 high is enough. We'll see. That's a pretty big dip here. Let's see. In it just fine. No, I could just power through it. Yeah, I'll just do that instead. Yeah. That's what a HEMI gets you. Instead of having to go to 4 low and just negotiate my way through, you just power through it. Yeah, it's 100% getting rockier. And it's also getting darker as we get up into the clouds. So I'm gonna get some more light in here, put the Sky One Touch top back. This is an off-road essential, am I right? Oh, so much better. Yes. Things are getting real. I am staring at a pretty serious incline, which means I need to make some changes. First off, I need to go into 4 low. So to do that, I'm gonna build up a little speed, go to neutral, and then kick it down to 4 low. You don't want to be doing that stationary, you're really forcing the gears. And then I'm going to go back to drive, and behind the scenes, you haven't seen it, but I went down and decreased the tire pressure even more so the sidewalls of the tires can really bite into the rocks and scamper us up here. And so now we just go for it. I can also look at the off-road pages at this point, really appreciate them, and see on the inclinometer what our pitch is. Right now we're just at a 15% grade, roll 8%. You don't want that to get too crazy. And just motor on up this hill. So easy. Now in 4 low, we have the peak crawl ratio of 48:1, which isn't as good as the standard Rubicon, but it's still pretty darn good. Just make quick work of now 21% grade. Just fine. Just fine. And now I'm leaning really heavily on the Dana 44 front and rear axles, the front one of which is the 3rd generation Dana 44 axle that is pulled right off the Jeep Gladiator Mojave. So it has bigger brakes and stronger tubing and thicker knuckles to handle the punishment. Oh, things are getting real up there. Yeah, all right, so we're gonna go for it as much as possible. But if we start to get stuck like now, losing my voice, I'm going to lock the front and rear differentials. Yes, okay, all done. And here we go. And that feels so much easier. So much easier. Just motor on up it. Yes. Oh, this is candy. Little more power is needed, like there. Oh, HEMI, thank you. And just climb and scamper and do your thing. You Wrangler 392 beauty you. Oh, you can do it all. You can do it all. Yeah, I can also, as I get towards these scarier rocks, go to the trail cam and keep an eye out for dangerous things. Don't want to hook a bumper or anything like that. Watch out, watch out. Easy McPeasy. And I'm spotting the reward for all of the Wrangler 392's hard work. A beautiful overlook above the clouds. I'm just gonna flip this guy around for its last challenge because it's passed everything so far. We are going to use hill descent control. It's really more of a hill anything control because when you press this button here on the dashboard, whether you're coming up a hill or down a hill, it just goes into off-road cruise control and you control the speed, and now we're going down a hill, control the speed at which we descend with these paddles. The right paddle, you're gonna go faster. The left paddle, you're gonna go slower. You can do it in increments of 0.5 mile per hour, 0.7 mile per hour to be specific. And this just makes the whole process so simple. Jeez, it honestly feels like there's nothing this truck can't do off-road. And with that verdict delivered and yet another challenge conquered, we need to kick it back on-road for us to talk about competitors. All right, guys, we're gonna wrap up this review by putting up the top before we get on the highway to see how it performs there. And you can do this top operation. I was doing it at 45 miles per hour. So it's not like a traditional convertible top where it's got to be like 31 miles per hour or less. You can do this at speed. But now we're secured, and now we're getting on the highway. Is it louder with the top up? It certainly sounds like it. But I didn't just get on the highway so I could go faster or use these paddles more, which I'm going to do anyway. Oh. Now, I got on the highway because I wanted to see how the wind and road noise is at freeway speeds. And there's definitely some wind noise that's creeping into this cabin. Not a ridiculous amount. This Sky One Touch top is keeping the worst of it out. There is certainly more wind noise than you'll experience in a luxury vehicle, the ones that we're going to mention in talking about competition. But the other thing that I wanted to see, and I'm unfortunately rediscovering it, is how much play there is to this steering wheel at freeway speeds, and there is a lot of it. So you're constantly having to make adjustments on this wheel. I'm not getting any tram-lining things with the tires, and their hum is not outrageous by any means, but you are gonna have to stay vigilant. That guy is booking it. You are gonna have to stay vigilant on this steering wheel at freeway speeds, and that might get tiresome after a while. But it's all manageable. I stand by the fact that this could be very much a daily driver. You could even use it as a commuter and you'd be fine. Now let's talk about the competition. And that is a weird conversation because what the Wrangler 392 is, the power it makes, the off-road capability, the convertibleness, nothing else does all of those things. There are vehicles that do elements of that, but nothing does it all like the Wrangler 392. But for sake of argument, let's throw them in there. Starting figure for the Wrangler 392, 75 grand, as I mentioned. The as-tested price for this one, 78.5. Nothing's gonna hit close to that. The Ford Bronco, that's gonna be the vehicle that does the off-road capability and the conversion stuff like the Wrangler, but at least to start, the most potent version is the 2.7 liter EcoBoost V6. That's gonna make 310 horsepower. The starting figure for that vehicle is $36,500, so less than half the starting price for the Wrangler 392, but again, not being a direct rival. The 0 to 60 for that is way slower. It's 5.8 seconds or 5.9 seconds. And the fuel economy is going to be better at 19 combined MPGe. Cargo space is right around where the Wrangler is, maybe just a few cubic feet more. Then we want to get into more expensive vehicles with maybe a V8. We can talk about the Lexus GX. That's $54,000 to start. And it's going to make 301 horsepower from its V8 that's really getting on in years. But that vehicle's technology, like its V8, is very, very old. The 0 to 60 for that is slow as well, 7.5 seconds. The fuel economy is only slightly better than the Wrangler 392 at 16 combined MPGe. And did I mention the Wrangler 392's fuel economy? 13 city, 17 highway, 14 combined. So still a little better, but not much for that Lexus GX. And the cargo space is worse than the Wrangler or any of the other vehicles. Then, perhaps the most direct competitor, excluding all of the conversion stuff that you can do, but in terms of off-road capability and nearing the price tag, we've got the Land Rover Defender 110 SE. That's going to be $65,000 to start, 64. JD, correct me. So, still at least 10 grand off the starting figure for this Wrangler 392, but it's getting closer in power, 395 horsepower, and the 0 to 60 is getting a little closer, 5.8 seconds. The fuel economy is 19 combined for that one as well, so better than the Wrangler 392. And you're getting that Land Rover-ness, the badge, the street cred. That would not be the right term. The poshness of a Land Rover vehicle, and it is very, very capable off-road. None of those vehicles deliver the package that the Wrangler 392 does. None of them make a noise like this. None of them are as quick, and none of them are as capable off-road. They're all very close. I would say, the Defender is going to do very similar things, and the Bronco will do similar things, but I think the Wrangler still has a slight edge there. And none of them have the cool. None of them have this level of cool. And therefore, I think the Wrangler 392 is, one, it's the best Wrangler you can buy. But by saying that, it's also saying it's one of, if not the best off-road vehicles you can buy. It satisfies the the HEMI or V8 power enthusiasm while also satisfying all of the off-road capability. I love this vehicle. And if you enjoyed this review, please like it, subscribe to the channel, and share the video. And I will see you guys again next time. And now mash the throttle.